Hello ratbags, it's JADEPG. Welcome back to another Conan Exiles video. Today we're taking a look at what's coming to PC and of course the latest Xbox update, the full patch notes. They've called it the Parity update. It hit last week, it was another big one, 27 GB, but supposedly it brought it in line with how the PC currently is. Lots of things to look forward to, including these cute little doggies and well, hyenas, and obviously we've got the cheetahs as well. Don't know what's really going on. I didn't know we was going to have baby creatures in the game. Is it going to be something tameable, or is it just a case of finding these baby ones in the wild? Plus, not only that, we have got a bit of information, tiniest little information, that the PS4 version is well on to its way, and in fact the team behind it have got a version working and running right now. Okay, let's take a look at the weekly vlog. Every Tuesday they update it, give a little bit of info about what's been happening, what the team have been working on. So, according to them, the current state of the PC is this. They're well on their way to the next update, which will add full inventories and new building pieces to the game. Entertainers, fighters and archers you break on your wheel of pain need to be clothed and equipped before they can fight for you. So if you've always wanted to make a giant uniformed army of thralls, you'll be able to do that. With this patch we're also adding the basic creature AI. Best case we'll be rolling out the patch in about 2 weeks. Now that's pretty good and that's pretty decent. That's not as big as I thought it might be coming in next 2 weeks. Obviously they've got big plans for the horde system, you know, for the villager system, but I guess it has to build up slowly. So the idea that you'll have all your thralls dressed in a certain way is pretty good stuff, I think. As well as the creature AI definitely needs the basic, it's just shoddy at best. It's not the most complicated AI. AI is always bad. I can't think of a decent game that's got some of the best AI. It's either hunts you down like Gears of War as soon as you put it on Insanity, or it does what it wants and it just hides behind stuff until you go around the corner and shoot it. Conan is no better, but currently its AI is even more buggy. It tends to just get stuck on a lot of things. So hopefully if that's the case, it'll include ways that it progresses around the map too. So the state of the Xbox, what did we get really with the update for the Parity update? Well, supposedly it removed a heap of changes, optimizations and improvements to the Xbox version of Conan Exiles, bringing it in line with the PC version. They are stressing that they do want to carry on keeping it up to date, and to be fair, they have. There hasn't been that long between updates for the Xbox and the PC version, but certainly any improvements that give Xbox a little bit of help are much needed because the game is still in a very buggy state. Sprint will automatically sheathe your weapons. We restored this system to make it depend on character state instead of the sprint gamepad input. The benefits are subtle, but this change allowed us to improve the handling of sprint when combined with other states like jumping and climbing. Your weapons will auto-wield when you stop sprinting. You can override this behaviour by sheathing your weapons manually with the shield wheeled sheath button Y on gamepads. If you are in the air when you stop sprinting, you'll automatically wield when you land. You can continue sprinting after a jump. This works after landing from climbing and sliding as well. If you hold sprint down, you won't unsheath your weapons when you land. Attacking while sprinting auto-wields, so that's good as well. No longer are you going to be fumbling around trying to get your sword out. You should be able to just get out pretty quickly. And they've reduced that, which I found a lot. As soon as you turn a slight different angle, you have to press the sprint button again, so they fixed that by all counts. So lots of improvements to the sprint system. It's still their intention to add an option where players can disable the automatic wield sheath behaviour entirely. With that option, your character won't be able to sprint unless you unwield your weapons by using the wield sheath button. PPS, it's still our intention to treat certain tools differently than weapons so they don't put away when you sprint. PPPS, we're looking in ways to show which weapons you have sheathed. I do like their patch notes, they are filled with some decent humour. Jens is quite a funny dude. Graphic optimizations. The art team has overhauled the textures and graphical meshes in the game. 10 people have been working for 4 weeks to drastically reduce the number of triangles and building pieces, foliage, destructible meshes, weapons, armour and non-humanoid creatures. Basically all the 3D models in the game have been optimised. Players won't see a huge visual difference, but it will make a positive impact on performance. That is great news, fantastic stuff to see. They've improved a lot of things with the character handling in general, particularly to do with dodge and attack. You can now hold block during a dodge and the character will go straight into a block. You can hold block to keep blocking after you recover from a knockback, hit confirm. No more having to press the block button again after getting hit. Lots and lots of small improvements to the animations there. I'm not going to go through all of them. Dodge is now allowed during wield animations. That's good, so you can really mix up and change up your style. Equipping 2 items at the same time, which can happen during auto wield and when you press the wield sheath button, will prioritise the animation of the weapon in the main hand instead of the offhand, i.e. your sword instead of the shield. This will improve the visual feedback in situations where it feels like your weapon wasn't working during the wield action because you couldn't see it playing a wield animation. They've buffed the temperature system changes. The temperature system will now change more slowly, meaning that moving from one area to another will still apply the same temperature, but it takes longer to reach the target temperature. Change systems for the temperature pop-ups. Temperature system now progresses from coldest to hottest. Frostbite, extremely cold, cold, normal, hot, very hot, extremely hot, overheating. Drinking from the water skin and the water filled flasks will now give you a cooling effect. Swimming reduces temperatures by a small amount. It should now be possible to eat ice and get a cold buff. Fixed damage on very hot buff, very cold buff and extremely hot and extremely cold buffs. The damage has been removed from the very versions and slightly lowered for the extremely versions. The screen edge effect for temperature debuffs has been modified to be less intrusive. Frostbite damage has been increased. The following items have now given correct temperature protection: sandstorm breathing mask, the fiery speaker mask, leather work gloves, climbing boots, black hand vest, trousers, turban, shirt, gloves, trousers and boots, all from the relic hunter. All the above now grant anti-heat bonuses except for the leather work gloves that give you a 2+ temperature. So that's pretty good to see. Obviously they're making more changes to the armour that you're wearing that will give you better temperature buffs. Exile heavy armour now has temperature as follows: normal +5, exceptional +8, flawless +13. Exile medium armour now increases temperature as follows: normal 5, exceptional 8, flawless 13. Reptile armour now decreases temperature by a total of 15%. The fixed exploits like explosive jars no longer being able to duplicate them. You can't no longer interact with objects through walls. Characters who choose Yuma as their religion will receive the recipe for altar to Yuma. Unfortunately, the fix did not unlock it for the characters created before this fix. You can use the yellow lotus potion to reset your stats and recipes. This will give you your Yuma altar feat rather than having to recreate your character. That's really good news then. So obviously if you did choose the new god and you weren't getting the altar for it, that is one way to definitely do it, is use the lotus yellow potion. Added option for locking containers. Containers owned by a clan are lockable, unlockable for all members of that clan. Remove the mighty invisible wall around an NPC camp tent so it would stop blocking arrows. Fixed issues with Dread Dungeon wouldn't open. Fix an issue where the client would crash if an item disappeared from your hotbar and another item was placed on top of it. The inventory that opens when interacting with unconscious players now has navigation. It should be possible to build on static messages. The NPC Resurrection Wizard has relearned an improved version of his resurrection spell that should now bring NPCs back to life correctly. Players can now build foundations on foliage buildings, mostly Archeronian buildings are. Shellfish traps now has collision with players and NPCs. Windows, doorways and fences should no longer snap partway up foundations. Mitra has given T2 and T3 altars with his presence and the flame should no longer be offset. There's a few more here, we're not going to go through, I'm going to pick out some of the better ones. You should now be able to use items when they're in containers, click the more button. Dying from poison should now show the name of the person who poisoned you. Items that don't need to be on your hotbar should no longer appear on your hotbar when crafting them. Equipping arrows to a bow in the radial menu will add the bows to the bow properly. This was a big issue for a while. It was such a weird way of putting your arrows on your bow. They fixed a bunch of issues where you couldn't build where you should have been. You'll no longer be able to sprint in the air. Closed up a hole in ruins to prevent players from placing bedrolls inside it. Extended the wooden backplate so that all trophies can be attached properly to walls. Stack sizes of trophies have been increased. Correction to the cold stage 3 buff where it did not do hunger damage. They've updated lore objects table, update with placeholder images for notes. There are just a ton of actual fixes in here. Loads of stuff to do with all sorts of NPCs. I'm not going to go through the rest. Of course, I will leave the actual link so you go check it out for yourself. One thing I did mention last time was that you can now only repair an item if you've got the recipe for it. You can repair exceptional flawless items, but it needs to be done in the workbench with a thrall. Undead creatures will now do damage properly. When multiple players help kill a monster, the XP is now spread out amongst everyone more fairly. It should no longer be possible to do damage with an avatar once the summoning duration has ended. You You can now make fur into leather in a tannery. A bunch of brand new recipes have been added to the thralls. So you've got honey glazed roast, honeyed eyes, mystery meat soup, honeyed gruel, honeyed jerky, honey bread, iced tea. Obviously because they've just added the honeys to the game. Your thirst will now automatically replenish itself to 100% when first submerged in water. Crafting times have been tweaked for most recipes in the game to about half. This change will be most notable for weapon and ammunition such as bolts and arrows. Some food items are also significantly affected. Crafting costs for pillars has been reduced by 50%. Crafting costs for hardened steel and star metal hammers has been increased. Damage on daggers has been lowered. Armor penetration has been increased for daggers. NPCs should be a lot easier to capture using bindings. Doorways will now shut after 30 seconds. Overheating now reduces your max stamina instead of adding encumbrance, and more crafting times have been tweaked, including the hunting bow. They've added fallen boulders and frozen rocks cinematics, that's pretty good. More performance tech issues, again I'm not going to go through that, but supposedly there are improvements for code, improvements for character creation, the upload screen, as well as removing log spam for creatures failing to spawn. I do find that it's still obviously, like I uploaded a game yesterday just to update the server and I found there was still some little issues. So much stuff here, so much. We're not going to go through it all, I'll be here all year. They have split the team in terms of the newsletter, who does what. The Vanguard take a look at the bugs and exploit fixes. Improve the new ragdoll setup that's been added to the combat system, because knocking someone down with a giant hammer isn't the same when you can't send that person flying in a heap of limbs. The Vanguard has also been fixing some usability issues in the Xbox version. On the dungeon side of things, the terraforms have been concepting experiment with lava flow patterns and the maps. We need that molten rock to look hella good. Here's a look in progress at the future version of the area surrounding the dungeon. The Berserkers are in charge of combat and movement, and they've finished up their auto-targeting and lock-on systems for the combat system. That would be really good to see. They're currently only prototyping and testing the new targeting system. Nothing has been added until they have something that we think fits with their desired combat. So I guess people would be worried that in PvP it might become too easy to lock onto a target and attack them and hit them. But even if it was only relegated to like NPCs, that would be pretty good. Loads of new stuff coming as well. Hardened steel crossbow, star metal crossbow. And look at these little puppies and a kitty. I don't know how these are working. You can get baby turtles in the game, so I can't say I've ever seen baby hyenas and baby cheetahs. Is this a thing? Or do you think this is going to be something we can actually raise them up and have our own puppies? That would be amazing. Tech and tools, so they're looking at ways they can improve the servers, so when it crashes it will keep track of where players all are. So I told you guys they have got something happening with the PS4 version. It wasn't much information, but it says here that finally the guys at Coconut Lizard have managed to hack together a playable build of the PS4 version. And that was pretty it, and I think that's a pretty good update. I like the fact they really go in detail about what various members of the team are doing, and it's good to see that the Xbox is starting to get a little bit more on form with PC, and they've not forgotten about the PS4 port, which is meant to be coming in 2018 with the full release of the game. As far as I'm aware, there is no big delay on the PS4, there's no exclusivity. It will launch when the full game launches for Xbox and PC. Of course things do change, we'll have to see how it goes, but I'm looking forward to some of the movements they're going. Progress still has got to come a long way though for their systems they want in place, like the Horde system, or they're calling it the Purge, and obviously the way they're going to have the settlements pretty much run by the thralls and you'll manage the thralls. That again is going to take some serious work, and of course there are lots of spaces for more gods, more combat, all sorts of things, creatures, as well as the mount system that's meant to be coming in the game as well. As ever, I'll keep you guys up to date on what's happening with Conan Exiles. I have got a server running right now. It's got a very limited amount of people on it. If you want to come and play, hit me up, come and join the Discord, come and talk to us, go and check out the Patreon page and see if you can get into playing with us ratbags on the server. I will be continuing my series. It has been a bit hit and miss. I just haven't had enough time to devote to it, but I've got a block of 2 weeks free, so I plan to do at least 3 to 5 episodes in that time. So until next time, I'm JPlaysGames. This has been Conan Exiles for the Game Alert, and I'll see you guys later.